Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, this is a new voice we haven't heard yet. Please, everyone, welcome to the show. First of all, this is Matt.
This is Jeannie.
And I'm Valerie.
Hi, Valerie.
There we go.
Hi.
Special guest of the week is Valerie. Episode leading up to Halloween and Samhain. Valerie, who are you for Yoga Farm?
I am Jeannie's mother, number one. And your mother-in-law.
That's true. The old battle axe is here on this week's episode.
Exactly.
I knew you were going to say that.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I couldn't. I thought of it as I was sitting down.
I haven't heard that word in a long time. That's definitely a granddaddy word.
It is. It is. Sometimes Matt invokes like the old man language.
I do.
From yesteryear.
Yeah.
It's
fun.
true.
Well, it's Abby started it. She called something a damn shame a few
She
years
did.
ago.
She said it
And
was
that
a damn shame.
made me want to just, rekindle all the old language.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not like old,
Not all of it.
not like
Not all of it.
outdated, horribly racist language.
What was the one that I wanted to revive that I keep forgetting?
Oh.
Hotsy Totsy.
Hotsy totsy.
Hotsy Totsy.
What does that mean?
It means great.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it means
You
like
sure?
this is good.
Okay.
I mean,
Cool.
you can fact check me, but
I love it.
I have always wanted to go with tart.
tart?
I want to be the tarot tart.
Oh. All right.
well,
What everyone wants to
And-
hear from their mother.
whether you want to be or not, you are from now on.
Oh, the tarot tart.
The tarot tart. And it leads us into like just things that I love about witchcraft, and that's kitchen witchery.
Okay.
And making actual tarts, get your mind out of the gutter.
Oh. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I thought the word.
Oh, you were going literal tarts.
Well, it's not literal.
Like
So,
like the pastry tarts.
no.
Oh.
No. Hotsy totsy, I thought was like sexy.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
like Rizzo.
I don't
Oh,
think it
yeah.
is.
Uh-huh.
Hotsy Totsy is
Okay.
sexy?
First of all, before we move forward, here are some definitions for
Okay.
hotsy totsy. Perfect or okay.
It seems
It
conflicting,
seems-
but
yeah,
right?
It is, okay. Wonderful, delightful, or just right.
See? Wonderful.
Pretentiously fashionable.
Hotsy Totsy.
An interjection expressing enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, or very sexually attractive.
Very
for-
sexually attractive.
For example, he dated a hotsy totsy showgirl. I mean, if you're going to use the word hotsy totsy, showgirl is the appropriate.
Hotsy Totsy tarot tart.
I love it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a thing.
We
No,
could
but
do
what-
a deck.
This is why we.
I mean,
should it would
we
be like
could.
a burlesque deck, wouldn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm seeing more like flappery.
okay. Yeah.
Flappery, like feather boas
Like,
and shit.
what about like, 50s pinup type?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
there we go.
I'm with you.
I think we just stumbled upon something.
All right.
Does Eden draw well still?
She makes things. She does like digital art. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's a collaboration here,
Mm,
and I'm going to bring it up to her when she gets here.
I love it.
All right.
So wait, Mom, back to what you do for Yoga Farm.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, I do the monthly tarot forecast on the last Sunday of each month for the next month coming up.
The tarot forecast.
Which is only for members.
It's only for members.
So this month it's going to be on Sunday, October 27th.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right.
And I also come and volunteer at the desk.
Front desk.
And basically build altars whenever I'm asked to.
It's
do
true.
protection magic.
You are like our...
Prosperity magic.
It's like-
Prosperity.
It's the witch we have on retainer.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Witch
Exactly.
retainer.
It's okay. I love it.
And you taught a course. Was that a year ago?
I taught a course a year ago on tarot. And then I did a second practical in the Practical Magic series called Simple Spell Work.
Yep.
And now I'm getting ready to do a 6-week course on kitchen witchery or hearth magic.
Love it.
Ooh. That just made me feel warm and fuzzy, those words together. That was
Well,
great.
and it's the perfect time because
It
we're
is.
headed into the dark months, into hermiting season. Really, from Samhain to Imbolc is hermiting season.
Okay.
It's the
We're gonna-
dark period of the year.
We're going to pop quiz Matt.
Yep.
Samhain,
It's Halloween,
October 31st.
October 31st.
Imbolc.
February 2nd.
Yeah, it is.
Groundhog Day.
Oh, I am becoming so good at this. Or I'm becoming barely passable. I'm just very proud of myself.
He knows the wheel of the year, I think.
I'm getting there.
The one that always trips you up is Beltane and
Beltane.
Mabon.
Can I tell you something I learned about Beltane?
Yes.
According to Irish witchcraft, it's pronounced Bealtaine.
Oh,
Bealtaine.
okay.
Bealtaine.
I love that. That makes sense.
Well, that would make sense because
I
Beal.
never knew that.
Because Beal is like that's how you would say the word bell, like that,
Oh.
like for the same, like you're ringing in.
Oh. Well, it's
Yeah, I
also,
was very proud of myself because I've been trying to learn slowly because I don't have an app, although I'm sure there is one. The phonetic, like Irish phonetic, phonics, Irish phonics,
Yeah.
because it's different. And like once you memorize phonics, you know, for those of you that like we stopped doing that for, once you memorize phonics, you can almost read any word. And so I've been trying to work on it, and Abby and I are reading this book called The Honey Witch. I'll give it to you when I'm done because it's so cute. And it takes place in Scotland
okay.
and Ireland and Wales. And there was an Irish woman, and I could
You could read.
I could pronounce her name.
that's
Like
awesome.
I knew what her name was, and
What was her name?
well, the name is pronounced Quiva,
Okay.
which is like CIOH.
So like the exact
L.
opposite of how you think you would spell it. Literally. Yeah.
Quiva.
That's so cool.
But I was like, I know this. I know how to say this
Right.
name. Like it took me a minute,
Yeah.
just like any translation, but it got very exciting.
That's so cool. I taught with someone who did not learn to read through phonics. Like she said, she knows what a word is because of like how it looks. Like she knows all those letters mean this word. She doesn't know why. Like she doesn't or she didn't learn that way. She
Right.
knows now, but she wasn't taught like PH equals an F sound.
Right.
ONE is a long O because of the E. It was just like, this is phone. That's how it looks.
Yeah.
Like it's a shape almost kind of thing.
Huh.
Yeah. And she did not like it.
See, I mean, we were definitely taught still
Yeah, phonics.
to learn
I had a
phonetically.
whole workbook for phonics.
Fun with phonics.
Fun
Yeah.
with phonics. I remember you teaching me how to read. A vivid memory
Oh
of.
no, is this a good one?
Yeah, no. You have like the patience of Job with this shit. Like
I do.
with small children trying to do things they've never done before, like infinite patience pours out of you. It's
So
like
it's the-
miraculous.
exact opposite as a man trying to teach a child math.
Well,
There
in
are-
your experience.
There are not the patience reserves.
In your
The patience
experience.
reservoir is run dry.
No, mom has infinite young child learning things patience. And we were reading Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And I was sounding out. God, I can't, like, it makes me tense thinking about sitting with someone trying to sound out all the words in, what was it, the long, cold winter or something, like a long, cold winter. And we're just
Little House on Plum Creek.
word by word going through this pictureless book.
Oh, yeah.
And I have, like, such a vivid memory.
So,
of
like,
that.
I don't think I read those books, but how old were you?
8,
No.
Okay.
7.
I was not even in first grade.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So you're reading books like, well, Pa broke his leg and he might have to shoot him
Yep.
before the winter and the next Indian massacre. Like,
Yep.
is that what you're reading? As
Yep.
Wow. And you're 4.
Yeah.
Well, she was really concerned about them not having enough food too. That in the long hard winter.
Yeah.
She was like, "Mom, really? They only got one biscuit a day?"
I was horrified.
I know.
I was like,
She was not.
I don't know if I can
starvation.
handle one ice cream a day. Like,
God.
this is rough.
Life on the frontier was so hard. Very
Yeah.
few ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah. It was very young. I don't know.
Yeah, you were very young.
I remember like being so bad at math, horrifyingly bad at math, that like my saving grace was that I was an advanced reader. So like I would just heavy lean on those memory. I think I just was like, it's fine. I can't be good at everything.
Right.
Like,
you've shown your capability in this area enough where this the lack of in this one is not a big deal.
Can't be good at everything.
I don't remember. Well, this is going to be I should stop myself.
Oh my.
But I don't remember being good at much. So I was going to say.
Honey.
I do remember though. I did have this like tape recorder, like it, or the special thing. Like it wasn't just a tape recorder, but it's a special machine, and you can buy like the audio cassette and a book with it.
Yeah.
So like you could.
Oh yeah.
It could like it reads it to you out loud. I had tons of those, bunch of Star Wars ones and like Disney and stuff. Like, so I remember listening to those like on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
No recollection of ever being good at math. High school, junior year is when it finally like clicked.
I don't know if math really ever clicked. I think probably in college when I went to like math lab multiple times crying because I was like, I just need to pass this class, this stupid math class that I don't need to teach social studies.
Yeah. Math was like all the confidence I gained my last 2 years of high school was quickly ripped out from under me in my first semester of college.
Oh.
Says the Virgo. 85 Virgo placements. Okay. We're getting off topic.
We are.
Yes.
We're getting off topic.
I do want to talk to you more about the 85 Virgo placements because I think that's interesting to me.
Oh, it's so, and that's what his Dark Moon Lilith is in too.
Mine is too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. I opened up my Channy app and I'm like, all these little icons in Virgo. I'm like, how long have these all been here? Have they been here the whole time? I literally was like, I didn't remember. But I guess it's a birth chart, so we know when I got
it. It is, in fact, been there your entire
It's
life.
when they opened up the spice and was just like,
Boop, boop,
get it
boop.
all in there.
We're going to do extra helpings of Virgo in this particular recipe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I love it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's my favorite.
Is it really?
And as far as kitchen magic is concerned, doing things under a Virgo moon, to me, that speaks of pastry and pie crust, where you have to be very
precise,
mindful of what you're doing
Yeah.
and how you're doing it.
The opposite of like, well, throw a little
Whereas,
bit of
like-
this, a little bit of that.
Yeah, you're
Like,
not measuring with your heart in pastry magic.
Exactly. And whereas if you're making something like sauce, like I'm doing today, a Sag moon would be kind of fabulous because it's fiery and exciting and
Unhinged.
unhinged sometimes.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love
I'm
all.
a Sag rising,
I
so.
am picking up all the shade that you're throwing to the various astrological signs. Like, probably an Aries. And it's like,
I'd never.
I don't know what that. I'm just saying you would say something like that, and I would say, oh, I don't know what that means. I'm starting to learn.
You know, I only throw shade at the attributes of astrological signs that I feel jealous that I don't have.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's really ultimately what my shade is about.
Okay. I see
Is
that.
the like, oh, this is a thing that I wish that I had that I don't have, or I
Right.
don't believe that I have access to. So
Or even that you have to actively try to have it, right? It's not something that just like appears and you can actually do. Something you need to cultivate,
yeah.
which is same way. I think when I rip on anyone that I come across, most of it is like, oh, I wish I had more of that, or I wish I was naturally good at that, or I wish I had more of that in my day-to-day where I'm. It's usually like any sort of whimsy. It needs like, it's like a garden. We need to cultivate that. We need to dig the dirt around.
Cultivating whimsy. I love that.
Well, I was texting with Jess and Ariana last night because, totally on topic, Witch Camp is starting next week.
That's right.
So
I keep forgetting that you're leaving.
that I'm leaving in a week. So we were texting just about like the excitement and things and supplies and stuff like that. And Ariana's like our West Coast. She's driving to Witch Camp. So what's great about that is like if we were like, oh, we actually forgot a thing, or we need you to pick up a thing, or like, can you stop and get a bouquet of flowers, or this or that. She can because she's driving, whereas we have luggage and flying and rules and stuff like that to follow. So we were texting, and in the middle of us texting, Matt took the dogs out.
Oh, last night.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
And he was very high on exuberance of the Yankees doing a good job.
They were they were winning.
They were winning, and it was there was just so much excitement in the space.
Well, because it's the postseason, right? So like the winner of this series goes to the World Series.
It's a big deal.
So yeah,
Big deal.
You know.
And there's been a resurgence of Yankees love recently, and so he also was in full Yankees regalia.
I did. I was wearing the new sweatshirt I got.
Got a new sweatshirt
and the hat that came, and I threw my jersey on. That was just to be cute for you,
right?
Because I thought you would find that cute. I didn't really. If it was,
I mean, if I had it my way, you just walk around in a baseball uniform all the time. So I don't know why that isn't happening. But
me neither.
So he had gone outside to take the dogs out before we went up to bed and wore his Crocs and slipped and fell in the mud.
I ate it.
Which I immediately had trauma and triggering flashbacks to when you fell in the backyard and then you tried to take an Advil and you had to go to the hospital and have an endoscopy.
12 hours later.
So like I had that whole moment of like, you know, and then I was like, well, Jessica was like, oh, is he okay? I'm like, well, he seems okay. You know, I'm sure that like the imbibing that went on in the course of watching the sports ball helped you be, you know, relaxed.
Yeah. It dulled some of the pain.
And Jessica was like, yeah, that is one of the benefits is, you know, he probably was very loosey-goosey in his fall. And Ariana and I were like, no, this man has too many Virgo placements to be loosey-goosey about anything.
Wow, it's true.
There's not a whole lot of spontaneous loosey-goosey. Like you can get there.
Yeah,
you can get there.
That's because I'm too committed to like, well, this is what I'm doing right now, and anything that changes that is like initially like, ruffles the feathers.
Don't like it.
Oh yeah, I don't like it when things get changed at the last minute. And I have a longer buffer period of what's called the last minute.
Right. Yeah. Last minute is slowly expanding. If like
last minute for a Gemini is very different than last minute for a Virgo.
Yeah.
Because there's no last minute for a Gemini.
Right. There was only the now.
We had that conversation yesterday,
We
too.
did have that conversation.
Oh, my God.
Because we know it's
Madeline being in the wow of the now. Only and always. So, all right. So you mentioned briefly that you can bring, like, what the moon is doing, what astrological sign it is in.
Can I ask a question about that after you?
Into magic that you're making.
Absolutely. In lots of different ways as well. So I wanted to talk about sort of, you know, we're going to call this practical magic, the kitchen witchery class. But I wanted to sort of talk about this integration between kitchen witchery and hearth magic. Because when you talk about the origin story, you know, and many people that we would call kitchen witches today would not have described themselves as such. They were wise women. They were healers. They were midwives.
Making
they were
medicine.
nurses.
We're talking
They were
long time ago.
Yeah.
They were homemakers or householders, as you would call them. And, you know, so the kitchen tends to be the heart of the home for most of us, but not all of us. Like in contemporary times, the hearth or the fireplace, like number one, a lot of us don't have them.
It's true.
And if we do have them, they're often in a different room than the room that we cook in.
Right.
Yes.
Whereas the hearth being the center of the home was because that's where the heat source came from.
Right.
That's where the alchemy of cooking took place. That's where, things were disposed of that you didn't want to see the light of day, so there was a lot of different focus, but it really centered on the home and the energy sources of the home. And it was equally shared between men and women in ancient times. There may have been gender segregation around what jobs you did, but it was all in service to the hearth and the home, which is very different than it is in our current reality.
The hearing value, talk about that, it makes me think of when we would go to living history museums.
Yes.
Because that's like the most connected. I have seen a kitchen like that. You know what I mean? We don't see a lot of the ancients, but like people were practicing that type of cooking and home living up until like the 20th century, right? So like it makes me think of those types of kitchens where there was like a hearth and maybe a stove, but still they were all in like that one place.
Right. Or that one place was also the place where food was just happened to be prepared. Like it was the cooking hearth and it was the heat source hearth. And like the separation of those two things is very, very new. I mean, in regards to human history, like, holy shit, that basically happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, yeah, I think it's fascinating because I have such weird energy around my kitchen.
Do you?
Yeah.
What?
I don't want anybody in my kitchen ever.
Oh, okay.
Ever. Like, I'm like, you go
I respect that.
sit. You just go sit out there and let me do kitchen-y things.
Not as like a misogynistic, I don't want to be in the kitchen, you can be in the kitchen. As someone who is slowly learning to cook, I also love like, can everyone just not get in my way right now? I get it. Respect.
Yeah.
And so like the awareness of how much time and human history that was the center of the home. I mean, I even think about like Nana's house. Oh my God. And Nana's kitchen was
small.
Probably the size of ours, maybe smaller.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe smaller.
No, a little bigger.
I
About
think so.
the size of your dining room, I would say. Because remember, you had the stove, the fridge, the counters, the cupboards, and then that big kitchen table that took up 90% of the room.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the difference is like I have more counter space than she did.
You do.
And I don't have a table, but we have an island.
Yeah.
So like it's pretty similar. And there were constantly people around that entire table. Like 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 people.
That's cool.
And she's just like inching herself around the perimeter, like the functioning part of the kitchen was really only like 2 sections, right? And then like a microwave in the corner. But like for the most part, 2 walls she had to get to, and then the table took up kind of, and everybody being around it. I think that would drive me insane. And it does drive me insane when there's a lot of people over. I'm like, go sit in the dining room. Why are you in here?
And isn't that interesting? Because Amy, my wife, and I, we built our house and we designed the kitchen with this big window seat right in the corner. So people tend to just pile up in the window seat when I'm cooking.
It's a very inviting, cozy little space.
The year that I cooked Thanksgiving dinner at your house.
That's when you set your scarf on fire.
No, it wasn't. I set my scarf on fire like their first Thanksgiving in that house. It wasn't even finished yet.
No.
Yeah, we didn't even have real stairs.
You didn't even have like real toilets.
No, we had toilets.
I don't know.
Then why did I poop in the bucket outside? I'm sorry.
It's a question that keeps burning in my
The whole
brain.
family still wonders that, honey. I wanted to, because you have a big island in your kitchen and then there's like the bar seating on the other side of it.
Yep.
I wanted so badly to be like, everyone has to stay on the other side of this island. You cannot
sit in the window seat.
You cannot come in the kitchen. Just stay over there.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
That's why like when we were looking for houses, I was like, open floor plan, kitchen and living room bleeding together. Immediately, never will I ever.
Okay.
Never.
Oh, wow.
Never.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Because when I'm envisioning what we're going to do to the kitchen.
Mm.
I thought, like, do you want to bump that wall out so it's as wide as the dining room? Like, it goes all the way out there?
Yeah, but it's still going to be a separate room.
That was my next question.
Yeah,
Okay.
it wouldn't be like...
Open. No.
No,
Because you need some sort of, like,
No.
weird Star Trek
It's so
neutral zone where
Yeah.
it's like you do not, the Romulans don't come this far into it, and it's like there's a strict truce.
It's just there's something so I don't know. Like it is. I feel like the kitchen in a lot of ways is sacred space. So whether or not there's a preference around inviting people into the kitchen or not inviting people into the kitchen, for some people, the kitchen still maintains being this like hearth and soul, sometimes heart. I've heard people say heart, but I've also heard soul. So something that I learned, I don't even remember who, I want to say it was Nancy,
Could be Nancy.
told me this, but she was like, what, maybe when we lived with Nancy, she's like, you always have to keep a light on in the kitchen, like a little light. All the time, because it's the soul of the house. So like you're just always keeping that illumination going. And thinking about that, like we have this little kind of decorative light in the corner of our kitchen that's always on. It never goes out. And thinking just like at one point that meant the fire, right? Like you just didn't let the fire go out. You never wanted the fire. It goes, what a bitch it is to have to start the fire from nothing.
Yeah.
So tending to it consistently. And so that's one thing that I have held on to since then. And even when like I lived in tiny little apartments where it was just like, there's a light over the sink.
Yep.
Which is going to be on all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a little puck light in the witch kitchen downstairs, which is different than the upstairs kitchen. But what
Hotsy totsy.
There's a sexy kitchen light.
it is
You were reviewing it differently.
But you
Sorry.
think about it, and banking the fire properly at night, like that was a process. Because if your fire went out overnight, you were all going to wake up freezing cold.
Yeah.
And you'd have to restart the fire,
Yeah.
which was not always an easy endeavor given whatever weather conditions.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, since we talked about Bieltana, is that one of the things that happens on that Sabbath or that festival, is that all the hearth fires are extinguished and then relit from the Bieltana fires.
Really?
Yes.
And that
yes.
is, oh crap, beginning of May?
May 1st, yeah. Yeah.
Went to Catholic school,
But
so all these
like-
correct answers are just getting me
Like
going.
we've said, though, these holidays, quote unquote, are seasons, really.
Yeah.
So, for instance, Bieltana, the other things you would do is usually there were 2 fires. You drove your livestock and your family
Through the fires.
between the
Between the
fires.
fires.
Between
Okay.
them.
Between the fires to protect your livestock and
Kill
to
lice.
Kill lice.
Really?
Uh-huh.
That's amazing.
Yep. Or any like fungus or,
On the animals or the people?
like parasite.
Everybody.
Both. Everybody walked through the fires.
That is so fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I could hear about this literally all the time. About like the origins of like why this happens, how it's like ceremonial and
Practical.
super practical.
So now, when you think about it, in our modern day world, we're talking about Imbolc, February. Then we go to Ostara, spring
sol-
equinox, equal light and day, and then we hit Bieltana. So there's an interesting correlation between extinguishing the old season and relighting for the spring that new fire, that new motivation, that moving into the busy time of the year.
Yeah.
That is so. Well, now that I know that, our fire pit is big enough. We can have 2 little fires.
We totally could.
We could totally do that.
Yeah.
Why am I only learning about this now?
Well, honey, you know, like it's kind of like when you're teaching me a new board game.
It's true.
It's like you give me information as we go along because too much information right out of the gate is like you can't retain it all.
Can't. Yeah, you're right.
So,
Facts.
It's true.
You've just crossed that threshold where you're ready.
It's true. And
I learned when I was ready to learn it.
Padawan.
Facts.
And magical living is something that you gain over the years and the decades. And just recognizing the cyclical nature of everything. It's like the sacred geometry of home living.
Oh, that's so cool.
I like that.
I like that a lot. You write that down? That's brilliant.
Sacred geometry of home living.
And also, well, I mean, you know what else is actually helping me remember or pay attention or notice like the cycles like this? And it's going to sound silly. Basically how I feel like we have conversations like, oh my God, everything from like, oh, it's Thursday already? Jeepers. Or like, holy crap, it's the middle of October. You know, it's like, oh, in 6 months, it'll be St. Patrick's Day again. We're like, where is the
5
time?
months.
Right. So I feel like time feels like it's moving a little quicker. I mean, this just happened. So like I could more easily see the cycles or notice them. We're like, oh, this is going to be over quickly. And I can notice the next thing that's going to happen. I don't know. I think the time moving helps.
Well, I think sometimes too, when it feels like something is fleeting, you're like, we're all just more aware and present that we need to be here in what is happening.
Right.
Because before we know it,
it'll be something
it'll be
else.
the next thing.
Right.
So, Mom, you brought us up to Bieltana, and then we moved through the growing, harvesting
season.
time of the year, and where we are right now is in between Mabon and Samhain. So what is the energy going into Samhain and then beyond? Like your course is that you're doing that you have upcoming is going to be leading up to Yule.
Yep.
The winter solstice time of year. And like what are some things? What are some like quick witch tips, kitchen witchery for this time of year?
Well, one of the things that I would do first thing before we start the dark season is to, everybody's going to hate me about this, go through your kitchen and clean out everything.
Oh, I love that you said that. Thank you. We can get our spice cupboard. It's driving me bananas.
Marry all the spices that you have multiple jars of, because I don't know about you, but like we go to Gloucester and then we end up with 17 bottles of cinnamon.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing it's blowing cinnamon season.
Yeah.
Always blowing cinnamon season.
So the first thing, and we're in talking about the class, the first thing that I'm going to request is that people do a purge in their kitchen and get rid of everything that no longer serves. Get rid of things that are broken. Having broken tools in your kitchen area is like inviting nonsense.
Chaos. Bless you. That like rang a singing bowl.
That was a big one.
It did. It rang the singing
bowl. It rang the singing bowl.
Sorry.
So I did this for 90% of our kitchen prior to the equinox. Like not only did I have to get rid of a ton of things and like go through the cupboards.
Oh, you did. Okay.
He pays attention.
Whatever, Matt.
Then I also rearranged everything.
It looks great, by the way.
Because things just like, they made sense at first when we first moved into the house. And the more time I've spent in the kitchen, I'm like, this doesn't actually make as much sense as it did.
Now, if you said that before, while, and after you did it, I would have helped you. I would have been like, yeah, totally. But it just seemed like you got one of those things where it's like, I need to clean right now.
Well, usually it is sparked by some kind of extraordinary frustration.
Oh, sure. And you can do this on a very small level. Say you're frustrated about something during your day. Somebody at work is being a butthead, or somebody was driving badly. I don't know about you, but that'll get me worked up when people drive
from
badly.
New Jersey. You don't have to defend that to me.
Well, I've just been in Massachusetts, and let me tell you, there were a lot of incidents of bad driving. But now I sort of lost track of what I was saying.
You're in a bad mood.
You're in a bad mood. You can just take like one drawer or one corner of a space and dedicate the organization of that space to the reorganization of your thinking, feeling, and being. And it's very powerful. I challenge people to stay mad after they've gone through a whole drawer and like found things that they forgot they had, looked at things and said, oh my God, why do I still have this?
Yep.
And then putting things together in a pleasing and functional way. And that's important. It has to be both things. It has to be pleasing and functional.
Okay.
To sort of bring that power and exuberance to your space. And once you sort this out, you will, most of the time, you will feel much less burdened by frustration.
Oh man, I cleaned out the junk drawer.
I know.
I don't know when that was, but
Yep.
it's due for another one. But that felt so good. Like even.
You know what I think we should do?
Okay.
I think that we should clean out the spice / medicine cabinet,
Yeah.
because that's what it is.
Yes, it is.
Because something that,
Apropos.
Yeah.
for whatever reason, I would love to know if this is true in other people's houses. Growing up, the medicine wasn't in the bathroom. The medicine was never in the bathroom.
No.
There was a medicine cabinet, cupboard, in Nana's kitchen. Like, it was never about the bathroom. So whenever people are like, oh, that's the medicine cabinet, I'm like, why do we call it a...
It's also where she kept her .22 pistol.
Guns and drugs.
Nana's packing.
Nana was a part of the cartel.
No, we didn't have a.
Don't mess with her. Nana was like, she was a great shot.
We did.
I know.
We
I
didn't
know.
have a. The medicine wasn't in the bathroom. It was in there was a hall closet.
A hall closet.
some-
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Well, you can't leave the medicine in the bathroom because the kids can get into it in there. I mean, do you remember when I had a pair of scissors in the bathroom and Gabrielle came over and cut her hair?
I do not remember that, but I love that.
It's
Oh my
amazing.
God, she had a really bad Carol Brady shag for a while.
Amazing.
And
love
so you just can't leave stuff in the bathroom as a rule.
Well, and I mean, just thinking about it now, it's like when we think about healing witches and people who were medicine people, supporting their communities, like all of that would have taken place within plant medicine, herbalism. So it would make sense that you were preparing and storing those things in the kitchen, because that's where you do that stuff, or you're cooking things into medicine, and that's where you store that stuff. So we have this giant, I mean, it is a huge
big,
cupboard
yeah.
of spices and medicine and teas.
Yep.
I think that we go through it
Okay.
live on Instagram.
Oh, I like that.
Ooh,
That's
such a
good.
good idea.
That's a good
Such
idea.
a good idea.
Let's go through it and see.
I love it.
You know, I've been having this thing lately. So a group of my friends, I can't remember who started it. There's an app on your phone you can download called Locket. And Locket is a picture app, much in the same way that like Instagram is. But when you receive a locket from someone, it shows up on your home screen. So like you get this little reminder that your friend is doing a fun thing, or it's her face, or, you know, whatever's going on. And my friends do fun stuff. So it's like this amazing sandwich someone's eating, or like someone's on an airplane somewhere, or, you know, like gorgeous, gorgeous things are coming across my Locket. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. And so I was failing at Locket. Mostly because
Wow.
what would happen is I'm in a beautiful place and I don't have my phone with me. Or I'm like, if I pick up my phone to do a locket right now, I'm going to get sucked into something that has to do with work.
Yeah.
So I avoid my phone when there is beautiful things around.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't avoid my phone is when there are not beautiful things around.
Yeah.
So recently on my locket, I just like invoked inner shame by taking pictures of my closet and the piles of laundry that I hadn't put away
So
on my locket.
That's how that started. Okay.
And I was like, I'm just going to be honest, guys. Like, this is what my closet looks like right now. I don't know how this happened. And it's so overwhelming. And then I brought my attention into it. So now my locket is basically like the wall of shame.
I love that idea, though.
And not, I mean, I say shame very tongue in cheek because it's not like I'm walking around feeling shame about my closet. I'm just not. What is true is it's like, this is real life, you know, and we are so into sharing, like, here is my
sanitized.
Here's my beautiful pie that I made, right? Like, not the explosion of flour that's all over your kitchen mid-pie.
5 to 10% of your experience is there, not the other 90% of what real life is. Kind of thing.
And as a novice wannabe historian geek, right? I keep having these thoughts recently of like, what are we documenting? Because we're not documenting real life most of the time. We're not. So what does that mean, providing there is an Earth 200 years from now?
I mean, there will be one.
Like, and humans are on it, looking at pictures from 200 years ago.
That
like,
I cannot,
what?
Guarantee.
What does that look like? And then what are the assumptions and interpretations that are made about society because we're only sharing these super sanitized versions of our lives that are not accurate?
Look through your social media as a historian and piece together what life was like just from those posts.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like we are all indulgent,
right?
gluttonous. We spend all of our time going out to eat.
We all look gorgeous.
We all look flawless all the time. Yeah, I mean, don't get me started about the like filters and AI and that kind of stuff going into photos and images, because again, it's like sometimes I look back on like historic photos and I'm just like, we look good now. We look healthy. Like we've unlocked some wisdom about, you know, vitamins and nourishment and like appropriate calorie intake, sometimes too much calorie intake, right? But we look healthy in comparison to like, you look at photos, there's photographic evidence of the Dust Bowl.
Right.
Oh,
you know? And people were starving and the land was fallow. And where is that historic evidence right now when arguably we are in, you know, there are many, many people that do not have enough food to eat. There are many, many people living below poverty line. And where are we, you know, where is that documentation? So this is totally a tangent. And it has led me to this place of like, let's rip
the facade off.
Right off.
Right.
And here's our messy spice cabinet.
Love it.
With willy-nilly cinnamon.
I love it.
Well, and I think that it's interesting that a lot of magic, a lot of kitchen magic, a lot of hearth magic is not beautiful. This is not about, I mean, it can be about the aesthetic. You know, we can be working with Venus. We can be working with Piscean energy, all that kind of stuff. Yes, we can make beauty. But there's also, you know, like I have Venus and Neptune in the 12th house in Scorpio in my chart. I'm sorry, that's not pretty magic. It's potent, it's effective, but that's because the aesthetic quality of it isn't important.
Okay.
You know, so like think about it. If you're not crafting a beautiful picture for Facebook, Instagram, any of those, beef stew does not look beautiful. It really does not look beautiful.
Oh my God.
You have to focus on the other things, the aromas, the textures, the colors, the a simmer versus boiling something within an inch of its life. So
Which is
there's
the Irish way.
It is the Irish way.
there is a lot of nuance in hearth magic and kitchen witchery that does not render a Pinterest
Right.
level beauty.
I love that you're saying this because I had that thought on the equinox. I was doing a simmer pot. And so I have this thing that I do with simmer pots where I will put one together in the kitchen. It will burn for the day and it will fill the house, right? But there's a second use for the simmer pot, which is that once the water cools, I'll like put it in a bowl or put it in a spray bottle and I'll use it to clean all the doorways of the house. So you just take a cloth and dip it in or spray it around and wipe all the corners, all the doorways. So I'm putting together this simmer pot, not with the thought of like, what is this going to look like?
Right.
But like, what do I want to, like, what are the properties that I want to bring in? So I'm flipping through Instagram and there's these gorgeous simmer pots because people have started selling, which admittedly I want one. Okay. These clear simmer pots. So they're just clear glass and you can see all of the things that are in them and and they're really pretty. Providing you're putting like rose petals in them and shit. And so I'm flipping through and I'm seeing all these images of gorgeous simmer pots and my simmer pot looks like brown pea water.
Yeah.
It looks like complete garbage.
It just looks like a garbage pot full of random stuff. And I'm just like, ugh, I can't bring myself to be like, well, I'm going to add all these things in because it's going to look really aesthetically pleasing as it's boiling down. When what's more important to me is that I'm using this water in this other task that I want to have. And sometimes it's about the smell because like I'm very scent oriented.
Smells great.
But it smells great.
Smells really good. I love it.
It smells great.
Well, and in the class, we are going to do one of the sessions on creating your own cleaning products with herbal qualities so that, because kitchen magic is not just about cooking.
Right.
It's just not.
Right.
Think of all the things that go on in your kitchen. That's where you wash everything to prepare it for the usage. It's where you maybe sit and look up recipes and decide what's going to happen in your kitchen. And then it's also all the mundane things that we have to do. What do they say? Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. And that's why we start the whole process with this cleaning out, wiping down every surface. And you don't have to use chemicals to do that. A little vinegar, a little basil essential oil, and water, and you can wipe down your kitchen counters with it. Basil also is a representative of prosperity and well-being, good health, all the good things.
I just can't with the vinegar though. Like I have to cut the vinegar with so much citrus because otherwise I'm like, why does it smell like we've been dyeing Easter eggs in here?
It smells like Easter.
Like I just like
because you're using too much.
I'm just like bleh. Because you open up the container and I can smell it. Like I just have scent things, but
You do. That's
See,
what I
I
do.
think that I love it because I used to wrap cheese at Green Star, and we used to have to clean everything with vinegar water so that you didn't contaminate one cheese with the other
Yeah.
cheese.
Oh, yeah.
So I love the smell of vinegar, but honestly, you don't need that much vinegar to water ratio to make
no, it's just
a basic cleaning
opening
solution.
the white vinegar jug fills the house with the scent. I
Kind of
can
does.
smell it.
Especially when we
It's
clean the
true.
coffee pot.
You know what
Well.
I'm making right now is rosemary vinegar hair rinse.
I was thinking about rosemary vinegar as a Henry body spray.
Henry is one of their dogs.
Yeah. I
So we have to make a Henry dog spray cologne commercial now.
Yeah, I've landed on like, because we have doodles and they don't shed, which is amazing. But when dogs don't shed, like they start to smell like wet dog, just out of, go outside, come back inside. So if you could come up with a dog hairspray scent, that'd be great.
Okay, I'm going to put that on my list.
Make it smell like musky and manly.
Manly.
Like, yeah.
Manly Henry.
It smell like
hair.
mahogany and pipe tobacco.
Cedar.
Worn leather.
Vanilla.
It smells like stoicism.
It has to smell like a distinguished.
Smells
It
like.
has to smell like Gregory Peck.
Yeah, it needs to smell like Gregory Peck. It needs to smell like brief and like almost curt to the point prose.
I mean, Henry's neither of
Smell
those
like
things.
salt water
but
and like a fish.
no,
Maybe a wispy.
Wow.
we don't
No.
want him to smell like
All right.
those things.
Maybe not fish. Maybe
Okay.
salt water.
Salt water is good.
Salt water's good.
Salt water is wonderful to use in magic, by the way. Definitely. Since I've just been to the sea,
The sea. To the sea.
that's what I've decided.
You're at a lighthouse?
Instead of being a crone, I'm going to be a sea hag.
Give me a sea hag.
Is this a new archetype that we're uncovering?
Sea hag.
The sea hag?
Mm-hmm.
I think we need
It's
to
a
make
step beyond the
we
crone.
need to make some nautically themed archetypes now. We got the sea hag. We can have the
Mermaid.
mermaid,
Yep.
The siren.
the siren.
The siren.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Neptune.
We're good at this.
We're good at this.
King Triton,
Trident.
who apparently is
Woof.
many young girls' sexual awakening.
Oh, King Triton. Talk to me.
Oh, and then
Mr.
of course,
Aquatic Santa Claus.
I have to bring this up. The Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah.
Do you know how many times in my life I have had to watch The Little Mermaid
Because
and
I was
listen
turned
to
on
every
by King
single
Triton.
song?
'Cause, yeah.
Ariel's dad is literally the hottest thing.
You do have a
So
thing
hot.
for nice
So hot.
shoulders and gray beards.
He's got the white beard going on.
And I mean,
He's angry, but he feels bad about it.
checking all the boxes that I.
Checking all the boxes.
This is great. I've never felt so like. You do love everything about me.
I do. I was like, I could see King Triton in him. Do you like to swim, sir?
Please hold this trident and wear this crown.
I'm learning so much today.
That's what we're here to do.
That's
Yeah.
what
what
we're here
this
to
is
do
for.
on the podcast.
I wanted to ask about any specific things because tomorrow is a full moon
yes.
full
Full
moon
moon in Aries.
in Aries. Now I wanted
And
to.
it's
a
a
hunter's moon.
almost eclipse.
Okay.
Partial eclipse.
I mean, briefly, as you wrap it up, I wanted to ask about that. Like, what's the deal? What is this? What is full moon bringing?
Well, the full moon, number one, is a time of release. So anything that you've been nurturing since the new moon, you're going to hand over to spirit or to God or the goddess.
When was the new moon?
The new moon was on the 2nd, I believe.
Okay, a couple weeks ago.
There's this great app that people can get. I upgrade to the paid part because I want to look forward, but it's just called The Moon.
Oh, okay.
The moon.
It's called the moon.
And you get.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Oh,
today
shoot.
we're at 99.2%. Tomorrow is actually the fullest of the full moon.
look at that.
But full moons are, usually 2.5 days.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, you want to release as much as you can. So if you've been working on something, you want to release your findings into the greater world. You want to open it up and let go and release things and let them travel through time and space to do what they need to do.
All right, cool. What is the significance about it being in Aries?
Aries is fiery. And if you listen to the astrologers that I listen to, Channy, but also there's a few others. This is going to be a loud time of the year. And honestly, I think that this is the last full moon before the election.
Oh, okay.
So
It must be because the election's the 5th.
We're like
Yeah.
20 days away.
22,
something.
yeah,
Exactly.
21. Yeah.
So I think about things right now being loud, being somewhat defiant because of the Black Moon Lilith placement that we've got going on. And also, you know, Aries brings like the heat and the passion, and you know, they can be a little annoying because, you know, honestly, there's, you know, if I was going to relate it to an Enneagram, I would probably do 8, you know, so.
Really?
I mean,
Okay.
8s can be intense. I can see
Yeah,
that.
intense, fiery energy.
See, the difference for me is 8s feel safe, whereas Aries feel immature, spontaneous.
Oh.
Okay. I mean, that could
Like
just be like,
Aries energy feels more impulsive. That's the
Impulsive.
impulsive.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the knights in the
Right.
tarot deck.
Where like nothing about an 8 is impulsive. That's the only difference. Is like
oh, yeah,
Okay.
okay.
eights would never impulsively do anything.
okay.
So maybe a 3. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm very introductory level Enneagram, even though I've had the book for a long time.
Well, Aries Aries are the baby of the zodiac.
Exactly.
Like the
First
year
sign.
starts. It's the first sign. So like there's that, you know, I know that when the moon is in Aries, personally, I need to think very clearly before I speak.
Interesting.
That I do not need to be impulsive and spicy with my words.
It's good. Wow, good for you.
I mean, it's generally a good rule to have,
I was
but
gonna say, yeah.
particularly
And a lovely, you know, kitchen witch solution for that is just putting a little honey on your lips.
I mean, I just pour honey in my coffee in the
Yeah.
morning. I try to just load up.
Who pours the honey in your
Matt
coffee?
pours honey in my coffee in the
Thank you.
morning.
Thank you.
So good.
I love doing it, but
So the other thing that's happening right now is we're headed towards Samhain. The time when the veil between the worlds is very, very thin. So lots of ancestor work, lots of talking to your dearly departed dead.
Oh,
If
pop
you're-
up.
yeah.
If you're doing a kitchen altar right now, you might want to add some pictures or some trinkets from your ancestors. And I like to be clear that ancestors are not just blood relatives. Ancestors can be the ancients. You know, I mean, I remember being in Red Rock Canyon, and all I could feel was this grandmother energy all around me. Like, and it wasn't my grandmother. I had a lovely relationship with my grandmother, but it wasn't my grandmother. It was the grandmothers, the
Cliffs of Moher.
energy of the wise women, which is what we're going to be talking about in this kitchen witchery class.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. Wow.
And sounds just fun, you know, because you get to, without impunity, sort of experiment with the dark arts.
Love it.
That's awesome.
Love it. I also love that, like, you know, when we're talking in Spiritual Warrior about the archetypes, the 4 major lunar archetypes, this is the season of the witch. And so we're seasonally in that witch element. So what I love about that is often people who even have some resistance because that witch wound is still very present in their
Yeah.
lives tend to soften around the idea of a witch this time of year, or can envision themselves in that way because it feels like playful, maybe even a little costumey. But what it really is like they're tapping into something that feels actually really good and real. So I love this time of year.
Nice.
My favorite. And it's almost my birthday time. So
And
there's
it's
that
almost
too.
your birthday
Yay.
month.
Aren't we
Absolutely.
starting your birthday celebration like here pretty soon?
No, we can't start it till it's actually Scorpio season. So we
Okay.
have to wait.
right.
All
Another
right, we have
couple-
to wait
another-
for the 21st.
Okay, another week or so.
Yep.
I
Let's
love
get
it.
in there.
Well, that was always, as always, awesome.
Awesome.
I feel like I learned so much. I feel like I always do. Yeah. This is just selfish. I just need to be taught things. So I'm just going to invite people that can teach me things. I almost don't care what they get out of it.
Matt's plan for the podcast.
It is. So yeah, check out what was the name of the course? The
Practical Magic Kitchen Witchery series.
Kitchen Witchery.
Kitchen Witchery series starting soon. All right. Well, for Wi-Fi Pod, this is Matt.
This is Jeannie.
And I'm Valerie.
Thanks, everyone.
Or Mom.